Alright, today what we're going to do is work on a tutorial to show you how to lay out a basic drawing with a part model, change the scale, some of the title attributes and the visibility attributes, as well as put some few basic dimensioning and then save a PDF, which is the standard document submission format. So the first thing you're always going to do is you're always going to start up with Inventor and you're going to create a new drawing file. And the drawing files can be found out here, right, with all of these, and these are much different formats that you could start with. I usually just come right here to start a drawing in standard units, inches, or I'll go to New, click this arrow, and go to Drawing. Once I'm here, I always check my tools and document settings to make sure that if I've made my models in inches, my drawing is in inches. Because if you do this and you don't correct it, all your dimensions will be incorrect and you'll have to redo it all. So we want to go change into Tools Standard Settings, ANSI millimeter, and always apply that and say Close. Now, once you've got a basic drawing, the first thing you can do is edit this title block if you want. And the way we'll do that is we can go into two different ways. We could either come in and expand our ANSI large border. These are the model browser. This is like your sheet browser where it tells you the text and blocks you've entered. And you can double click on field text and it shows you the empty text fields that you can edit, but they're not editable just yet. So in order to edit these, you come up here when it turns into a solid color, like for instance title, and I'll change the title to be, go to summary, and I'll change the title to be Part Modeling Review, and I'll make the author, and you can do all of these things. You can change all these fields if you'd like and say OK, and then you'll notice the fields start to fill up. If you didn't want to do it that way, you can also go Start, I menu, I properties. The I properties are like the properties of whatever the file's all about, and inside Summary, that's where you have all of these things. There's other things in the project you can talk about, but for now I would just look at the summary. So you should be able to change that, put your name on there. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go to Place Views, you're going to place the base view, and you'll get this block. So as long as you've made your part correctly, you can go find it wherever it lives. Like let's say I have my composite block here, and I'm going to bring in my composite block. And notice it comes in as a flat view. Now I can select current and it'll stay. You can change some of these angles, but you need to match the angle of the image provided. So notice I can't really get one that I want to look right. So the way we'll fix that is we're going to go open up that file, composite block, and I'm going to turn my view to look like the book does, which is something like that. Right, and if I get my box, it'll set up perfectly. Once I've got the perfect angle, I do a quick save, come back to your drawing, place that same view again, and watch what the current view looks like. It looks perfect. It's the same angle you should have. Now, when you place this, some of you may get a giant image versus a small image, and the way you can begin to change the scale of the object is inside this title box here. So now we've oriented you to the views. You only need to provide the 3D view for this exercise. You're going to turn on the light bulb always, because that's going to turn on your scale and your view identifier. So this is called a composite block. And then you're going to change the scale if you need, right? It could be something smaller, something too big, but in any case it needs to be legible and you want to fit as much as you can on the page as possible. So what we're going to do is click to place it once we've placed it. And you'll notice it wants me to place other views. For this case, I'm not going to. I'm just going to say OK, and it'll live with that. Now, if you want to change the look or feel of this object, usually hidden line with just the standard non-shaded is a good way to go when doing typical drawings. But if you want to change it, you just right-click on the right box around the composite block, turn on your shading, and say OK, and you'll get your shaded object. So that's how you place your basic block. You could keep coming in, drag in your other parts that you may have, wherever you're storing them at. right? You can come in and grab other parts if you need. And so you'll see this one's still crooked. So then what I'll do is I'll come in and I'll open up that one. And I'll fix that view to be as it should, just like it is there. Save it, come back to my drawing, place view, current, and now I've got my current view. I'm going to try to align these up. Make sure you always turn on your title. This was called some kind of stopping block or something like that. Oops. And if you place it incorrectly, you can always say, okay, grab that red box that's around it and move it around as you like. So then what you'll do is populate this sheet with all of the parts you've created, and you can turn on, I'm going to go ahead and turn on this shaded, say okay. And what we'll do is we'll take and we're going to start doing some basic dimensioning because we're almost done. So you're going to go to Annotate, under the Annotate tab. This is where you can add anything you want. You could add center lines, like if we come back here, I prefer to maybe show these real clean or at least real simple like that because the shaded sometimes gets in the way. And I'm going to come in and click Dimension, and then I'm going to start dimensioning those areas that show up on the drawing. So I think we had one here, and I'm just clicking the two lines that make up the dimension and trying to lay them out neatly. If you wanted to do like a chain of dimensions or a couple different dimensions, you could pick and create something like that. But I'll just stick with doing some basic dimensioning. That's what I would suggest. And so let's cover some of the main dimensions, and that's how you're going to add all of those basic ones that you've had. Now if we want to add center lines to really make these drawings pop just like you saw them in the originals, you're going to come into center points and you just click the circles that had centers. So it'll just make nice center points all around everywhere you had them. And you can dimension those center points if you like, or you can add center lines to other areas. So if I want center lines, I could click here and there. And if I click on those center lines, I can extend them to make them look like they're extended through the object, right? They could also move, but we'll stick with where we have it. Now, adding all those things, you're going to need to come in and show some dimensions. You never want to have a situation like this where your title covers your dimensions, so always make sure you hit escape and move some of these things out of the way. But it's important to keep things aligned and clean, so I'm going to keep my text centered and laid out. And I'm going to go ahead and place a few more views. Let's just do that real quick. Turn off this, keep on there, turn that up, and say okay. Say okay, and now that got in the way, so I'm going to move it over. And I need to dimension this, just like all the others. And you'll continue that for each of the different parts with their corresponding names. Make sure you've got your title selected, and you should have about a full sheet of drawings. And then what we're going to do is we're going to export this and save it as a PDF, because that's the standard format of Exchange that'll make life easier for you to build your portfolio, for you to share documents, and also it retains the drawn quality of your images. If you export a snapshot or an image or a JPEG or a PNG or any of these other formats, it will be pixelated or have kind of a fuzziness to it. So we're going to go to the Inventor menu once you're done with your drawing. We're going to go to Save As, and we're going to save as, this is where you can save it as a drawing where it is actually digital lines, or if we want to do a PDF, we'll go to Export, and we just go to Export PDF format. Now when you export this PDF, you want to save it where you can remember, right, if it's in your tutorials. And you're going to call it whatever it is. This was the part modeling review. I would suggest a good format for file naming that'll make your life a lot easier is last name underscore first initial and the assignment name. That's the least you could add to keep up with your parts. And you'll save that as a PDF. And when it saves, you'll get a really nice drawing. It's got some high quality lines, some strong dimensioning, and has your title block. This would be a good standard file to build for your portfolio. And these can be dropped right into PowerPoint and retain all their quality. So the next thing we'll do is you guys are going to share that PDF to the class Google Drive. And what that would require you to do is that would require you to go to New, File, Upload, and you're going to upload the PDF you've made. Right, so we're going to find that. Here's my part modeling review. When it uploads, I'm going to share that back to the class Google Drive, and here's how you'll do that. Once we've changed the correct name, don't just put part or part 1. Make sure you actually reference. So let's see where mine showed up. This was Scott underscore D. And you could go open it and click on it, or you can just come over here and you can go share. And then you're going to share that to rca.designdrawing@gmail.com. And you're going to say send. And when that sends, I should see it right here. And it'll pop up on my Google Drive, and then I'll be able to open it and take a look at for a grade. And there's your basic PDF submission and drawing layout tutorial.